Today, you're going to see one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the National Football League. Number 10, Jim Zorn of the Seattle Seahawks. He scrambled last week against Oakland and hit his favorite target, Steve Largent, for the 67-yard strike against the Oakland Raiders. Largent last year led the NFL in receiving yardage. And today, in the Kingdome in Seattle, the Seahawks, with a 4-4 record, playing host to the Philadelphia Eagles, who have the best record in the National Football League. They are 7-1. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender, along with John Madden. And, John, I didn't think I was going to get you in this place.
No, I never liked this place. I never believed that football should be played indoors, especially here in the Kingdom. You know why? Never won a football game here.
And one of the big reasons, John, is Jim Zorn.
Oh, he was tough. You know, he can run, he can throw it. He's a threat every time he gets the ball. When we played him, we always assigned one man to Jim Zorn on every play.
Now, he faces the number 1 ranked defense in the National Football League. We ask him how he will attack that. What are you going to try to do?
Well, I think that our type of offense has been real creative. I think we've got a lot of ingenuity in a lot of the people that are playing with us. Myself, Steve Largent, we run weird plays, and you'll see a few of them today.
Wilbert Montgomery's out for the 3rd straight week. Wally Henry is out for the year, but Ron Jaworski will play. And before the start of the game, John asked him just how he feels after last week.
Well, I feel a lot better than I did Sunday and Monday, but of course, when you spend the night in the hospital after taking the kind of blindside shot I took, you don't expect to feel well for a few days, but I'll be ready to go this afternoon.
Ron, how are you going to attack the Seattle defense?
Well, the Seattle defense is a strong defense. They're the type of defense that bends, but they don't give up the real big play. They can give up yardage, but they don't give up many points. So it's going to be the type of game where we know where they're going to be. They play a pretty straight defense, or we call vanilla, where they just line up and say, "Here we are," and come and get us. And it's going to be a game that I believe is really going to be one of the pits. I think if we establish a running game and maintain ball control, we'll win the football game.
Seattle defensively has been pretty tough. They've given up only 10 touchdowns in the last 5 games. And Seattle has won the toss they have elected to receive. This is Tony Franklin, who will be kicking off. Franklin this year has hit 6 of 12 field goals. He's 7th in the NFC in scoring. As back deep goes Will Lewis, one of the exciting young rookies for this football team this year. He is 2nd in the AFC in kickoff returns, and instead we have a new man bringing it out. This is going to be Jesse Green, and Green out to the 17-yard line. Green, a former Green Bay Packer, and at the 17, that's where Seattle will set it up after a 15-yard return. Zach Henderson making the stop. Let's look now offensively at the Seattle team. Zorn, just spectacular, but they really miss Sherman Smith at running back.
They do miss Sherman Smith because he was not only a fine runner, but a fine pass receiver and an additional threat on this Seattle team.
A young offensive line. John Yarno might be the best up front for this team. Here comes Zorn. Zorn coming into this contest is ranked 7th in the AFC in the passing statistics. In motion goes Steve Largent. This is an exciting young team, the Seattle team. This is Jim Jodat, the former Los Angeles Ram. He picks up 5 yards to the 22-yard line. Jodat is the man they picked up in August for a draft choice. And earlier this year, he had 117 yards against the Washington Redskins. The one thing about this team, they don't have the great outside speed with Jodat and Dornick in that backfield.
That's what they missed. But one thing, Jim Zorn adds to that because he can run with the ball inside or outside.
2nd down 5 from the 22-yard line. This will be Dornick. Dan Dornick, the former New York Giant. He may have gotten 2 yards, and that's all. It'll bring up 3rd down. Still 3 yards to go. Frank LeMaster making the stop for the Eagles, who we mentioned are the number 1 ranked defense, not only in the NFC, but the entire National Football League. And let's look at this defensive core. They have just been spectacular at times.
They have. We see the front 3 there, and in addition to that group, Claude Humphrey, number 87, comes in as a pass rusher, and he is tough in those situations.
Their number 1 draft pick, Roynell Young, at that left corner. And on this particular play, Seattle's coming out with 3 wide receivers. We'll see that through most of the game. 3rd down, a long 3 to go. Almost jumping offside, Philadelphia. Zorn on 3rd down, giving to Dornick. He has a 1st down. Dan Dornick to the 31-yard line. Dornick last year caught 54 passes for this Seattle team. Jerry Robinson over to make the stop after an 8-yard pickup on the play, moving the ball to the 31-yard line. And early now, Seattle showing they might be able to run the football.
A very interesting call in that situation. On any passing down, the Philadelphia Eagles substitute 4 new players, take out 4, and that's their pass defense. Now, Seattle elected, instead of passing into that defense, they elected to run, and they were very successful on the first play.
And they had the 3 wide receivers and still ran the football. Very interesting development early in the game. Largent in motion. The tight end is back in on this play, John Sawyer. Zorn gives off to Jodat, and Jodat to the 35-yard line. That will be a pickup of 3, almost 4 yards on the play. Jodat establishing early that he may be a very effective player in this game. This year, Philadelphia has allowed only 95.5 yards a game on the ground.
One thing, playing inside up here is totally different from any other place.
2nd down and 6 for Seattle. Largent in motion once again. He has 28 catches this year. He now has 29. Coming over very quickly, Roynell Young, the young man we mentioned earlier, the #1 draft pick from Alcorn State, who has 1 interception this year. And Largent, who has the great hands, coming up with a catch.
You see, again, the one thing that Seattle likes to do is mix up the formations. They like to bring someone in motion, as they did here to Largent. It was just a short pass to establish maybe how they're going to cover the motion. As we see Largent come here, and then we know on the defense that the Eagle defense slid with him, came over with him, so they'll check that early to see what they want to do off of that.
And now on a 3rd down and 3, they have 3 wide receivers in the game again. McCullum goes in motion. Zorn, same play almost as earlier on 3rd down, and Dornick may be short this time. Almost very similar to that play they called earlier on 3rd down. This time LeMaster and Jerry Robinson over to stop him. It appears they are short. It's going to bring up a 4th down.
And I think they're going to go for it. You know, that's one thing about Jack Patera. He doesn't play by the book. He doesn't play those percentages. He's an exciting coach with an exciting football team. And here early in the game, they're going for it on 4th down.
They call this the most exciting 4th down club in football, and we may find evidence of that as this game wears on. And as we come to this 4th down, they have less than a yard to go. It's a matter of inches on 4th down. Everybody's in tight. Zorn to Jodat, and I believe he got it. Wasn't easy, but Jodat hit by Dennis Harrison, the left side defensive tackle for Philadelphia, and the first gamble of the day has paid off for Seattle.
It sure has, and that was a fine job on the right side of the Seahawk line with Bob Newton, the right guard, Steve August, the right tackle, and the tight end, John Sawyer. We can see here that they take off very well when the ball snapped. They don't allow any penetration on the line of scrimmage, so that Jodat is able to get in and pick up the 1st down.
Seattle has not won at home this year. They are 4-4, but one of the reasons they haven't won at home is a very, very difficult schedule. They are rated to have the toughest schedule in the National Football League this year. 1st down just across the 42. Zorn to Dornick. Dornick across the 45 to the 47. A pickup of 4 yards on the play, and I'm impressed right now the way Seattle's running the football.
I've seen this happen before, and I know exactly what Jim Zorn is doing, or the Seattle offense. They're running straight at the Philadelphia defense to make them stay there. And now later he can start his sprinting and his scrambling and be much more effective. If he starts it early in the game, then they start spreading out with him. But he wants to tighten him up, make him stay there.
Does this bring back some memories?
Oh, I've been there before, and it has never been fun.
2nd down and 6. Zorn with lots of time to throw, and he tried to hit his tight end to the 50-yard line. Check that. Dornick, his back coming out of the backfield. A lot of mustard on that football. Boy, he really fired that one over there, and it's going to bring up a 3rd down. John Bunting, who's considered to be the nerve center of that defense, over to covering on the play. And there's an interesting statistic. Only 4 of its last 24 3rd downs, and that's what we have now, 3rd and 6.
Well, and there's been a lot of talk about the pass protection up here in Seattle. They feel that one place that they really haven't improved and haven't done a good job is the offensive line pass protecting on obvious passing downs.
Well, they've given up 21 sacks this year, while last year they gave up 23 for the entire year. Zorn on 3rd and 6. Pressure put on by Claude Humphrey. Gets it off to Dornick to the 50, and Dornick has a 1st down. He's to the 46-yard line of Philadelphia. Roynell Young over to make the stop, and this play will show you how nifty Jim Zorn is on the pass rush up the middle.
I'll tell you, he's very tough to catch. As we see in the upper part of the screen. Claude Humphrey takes an inside move, beats his man. Now Zorn has to buy a little time. He has to move. Then he gets the ball out to Dornick on a screen pass for a first down.
Did you see Yarno throw that block? That big center got down there very effectively.
That was a different type of screen. Usually you have your guard out in front on a screen. In this play, it was center John Yarno.
First down now at the 46 of Philadelphia. We're just underway in the Kingdome. A $67 million structure. 3 wide receivers in on this first down. Zorn, far side. He has his man. That is Steve Rabel. Rabel this year's only caught 3 passes, but now that they've gone to 3 wide receivers, he's going to see a lot more action.
He'll play a lot more, and that's what Jim Zorn was starting to establish. He wanted to run inside, make him stay there. It's control that pass rush because he's been running on first down. Now he goes 3 wide receivers on first down and throws a first down pass. You can never really get a defensive book on this Seattle team.
You know, Rabel, we watched practice yesterday. He had a little trouble with ankle, and they were afraid he wasn't playing today.
It went very quiet in this stadium, didn't it?
He turned it yesterday, but he looks like he's healthy and ready to go. First down, just short of the 35-yard line. Jodat cuts it back very well. And Jodat is close to the 31-yard line. Give him 4 yards on the play. Bring up second and 6. John Bunning again making the stop along with Charlie Johnson. And we knew, and I'm sure most people watching this game knew, that Seattle will throw everything at you, and they have a very varied and a very interesting offense, and it started that way here today.
Well, that's what Jim Zorn said before the game. He says, we do a lot of weird things. I don't think we've seen their weirdest yet. I think as we go, we're going to see some more weird things as we look at the 3 wide receivers. A good shot.
Good shot from the end zone. It's Jodat now on a second down and 6. Is able to take it to the 27-yard line. He's going to be 2 yards short of the first down. Charlie Johnson again making the stop. Johnson, one of the unsung football players in this Philadelphia success story. As now changes coming in. Mark Bell, a big tight end, has come in. Ron Essing, who will come in sometimes as a tight end as well as play offensive tackle.
And I'm sure that he's coming in this situation as the tight end.
Thus far, Jodat has carried the ball 6 times for 24 yards. He has a 3rd down and a short 2. And look at this one. Pittsburgh had to struggle to break that 3-game losing
Green
streak.
Bay is something. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle runs a play pass here.
And here is Zorn giving off to Jodat, and I don't believe he got it. Carl Hairston, who according to Coach Dick Vermeil is an all-pro. He says he plays as well as anyone from sideline to sideline. You see Zorn not too happy about that development, as that will bring up 4th down and also bring in Efrain Herrera.
See, again, we see on this one, they allowed penetration on the left side. On their first short yardage defense, the right side did a good job. They didn't let the defense penetrate. On this time, they ran to the left side. They did allow penetration. In fact, it was by Carl Hairston, and that stopped the play.
44-yard field goal attempt. Herrera is 11 of 15. His longest this year has been 48 yards. So a 44-yarder is Jim Zorn to hold. They're faking it. Zorn is going to run it. He's to the 20, 15. He is down to the 6-yard line. And that is part of the changes that you'll see throughout this football game as they cross up Philadelphia. It's 1st and goal at the 6. Randy Logan eventually made the stop after a 20-yard pickup.
That's one thing. And look on this play who the lead blocker is. Herrera, he fakes the kick. Now he leads right here. He leads Jim Zorn up through the hole. He really doesn't block anyone, but he gets in the way, and right at the end he tries to. And that's what we're talking about the book. There's no such thing as having a defensive book on this Seattle team or a kicking team book, because they do so many things out of those situations. There's always a surprise up their sleeve.
Efrain Herrera leading interference. Can you believe that? 1st and goal at the 6. A sellout crowd today. The 24th straight sellout. And this time, Jodat on a 1st and goal at the 6, struggling inside the 5. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. He's going to be at about the 4-yard line area. Jim Zorn has done so many things. They've had Herrera catch passes off of fakes. They've had Herrera throw passes, and this time he was leading the blocker.
He was a leading blocker, and the reason he says that he's a blocker now is he said every time he goes to kick, they double cover him. So they can't throw to him anymore, so now they made him a blocker. Next week, he'll probably be working out with the guards.
He's an interesting guy. He was recruited by Dick Vermeil at UCLA. 2nd and goal now. They mark the ball just about the 30-yard line area. Zorn wants to throw. Has a lot of time. And it's intended for Dornick. Dan Dornick had double coverage right on the goal line area. Frank LeMaster, Bill Berkey was also in on that play, and it comes to a 3rd down. They really had that one defense very well.
They did. They had it inside out. Dan Dornick thought that he was touched before the ball got there. We'll be able to see it here as we look at it again to see if in fact he was, but it was really good defense. They had him inside out. There was nothing there. Jim Zorn forced that one a little, Gary.
You know, you said at the top of the show you always assign one guy to Jim Zorn. Dick Vermeil said what? He was going to assign 11 men to
He
it.
said last night they had a meeting, and instead of assigning one guy to him, that they were going to assign 11 of their defensive players to Jim Zorn.
Seattle has asked for a timeout as we have 5:21 remaining in this first quarter.
Take it easy. You know, I was known for working long and hard during training camp. Why, even after my teammates were asleep, I'd still be out practicing my moves, and that's still important. So I drink light beer from Miller. Light tastes great. It's got 1/3 less calories than a regular beer, and the best thing is it's less filling. Because listen, I still train the same way as the old days. Practice, practice, practice.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
We call this the Cinder Block Mountain, a tough climb for any 4x4 pickup. And you know that 4x4 gas mileage is an uphill battle. But this is a 1981 Ford. It combines toughness with the best gas mileage ratings of all 6-cylinder 4x4 pickups. And it's the only American-built pickup with independent front suspension to step over bumps independently. Yes, Ford conquers the mountain with the best gas mileage. And it's built Ford Tough.
Well, the New York Giants now have lost 8 in a row. Tampa Bay with a 30-13 victory. And we have another look here. And Atlanta, boy, are they playing well. They beat Buffalo. They want to stay in first place in that NFC West.
They're an impressive team. You know, we've talked many times about Atlanta. We had them against the New England Patriots, and I think they were one of the best teams that day that we've seen in the NFL.
Boy, Detroit, that was a tough one. San Francisco.
Detroit had to come from behind to do that.
James Owens in that game had a 101-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Here we go. 3rd and goal at the 3-yard line. This is the 17th play on this drive, a drive that started at the 17-yard line. Zorn on a bootleg. Guy has a block from Lynch, or Lynch was trying to throw one and couldn't, and he gets nowhere. Trying to throw a block was Tom Lynch, 61. He couldn't get it done. As an end result, Zorn didn't gain anything.
This is a big play for the Seahawks. They always do this. It's a bootleg. See, he fakes the run to the left, then he keeps the ball, brings it out with a guard pulling to the right or left. Now, the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles did a nice job because they didn't go with the 2 running backs. They waited there for Zorn to come to that side.
Roynell Young made the tackle, but give credit to Charlie Johnson on that play. So this is going to be a 12-yard field goal to check it, a 22-yard field goal attempt by Efren Herrera. Zorn to hold. I guess you're going to kick it. They didn't last time, and he hits it. Efren Herrera now has hit 12 of 16 this year. And Seattle, a very impressive drive. It's now 4:40 showing on the clock, and Philadelphia is getting the football for the first time in this game.
When you've got to rely on your vehicles, rely on AC Delco. AC fire ring spark plugs, AC filters, Delco shocks, and a battery even tougher than the Freedom. The maintenance-free Delco Freedom 2 battery with more efficient starting power. For over 50 years, hard-working people have relied on AC Delco parts for just about anything that moves.
AC Delco, working hard for you.
And right now, AC Delco is making it possible for you to get the Delco Freedom 2 battery on sale at participating outlets.
It's knowing you depend on us. We're gonna solve your problems, yeah, we understand. It's knowing Avis tries so hard, we'll always be right there to lend a helping hand. Yeah, Avis takes the worry out of renting cars, no matter where the road may wind. At Avis you're leaving your worries behind.
Live undefeated champion Hilmer Kenny blasts away with Bilamar Fernandez for the WBA Lightweight Championship next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Efren Herrera, who just kicked a 21-yard field goal to kick off the deep men, going back Billy Camfield. He's joined by Perry Harrington. Harrington is number 35. Herrera, an outstanding soccer kicker in college as well as a fine kicker now in the NFL, but that one's going to go out of bounds, and that will be a 5-yard penalty. We came out to practice yesterday, and Herrera was warming up with a soccer ball. And pushing and shoving going on down there, and there is Herrera. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Seattle Seahawks and the National Football League is prohibited. But Herrera used that soccer ball to kind of loosen up. And look at that last drive. Can you believe that? 10 minutes and 12 seconds they had that football.
That's something. I'll tell you one thing, that establishes something, and it's a good way to start. And even though they only came up with 3 points, they have established to themselves and to the Eagles that they can both run and throw the ball, and they can also fool them if they have to.
Fool them, I guess. I can see why you had some miserable Sunday afternoons here.
Oh, it drives you crazy. And then you're never sure that he's going to kick the ball now. As we watch the Eagles, they have 6 men up in the front line. They're always waiting for an onside kick.
Last year, Seattle hit 7 of 11 onside kicks. That might be an NFL record, but he is going to kick off. And Billy Campfield will camp under this one at the 6-yard line. Up to the 20, has a little running room to the 30. He had a little alley there. He was tripped up. Coming over to trip him up was Michael Jackson, who's the leading tackler on this team, and Jackson's holding his hand, shaken up a little bit on the play. But Philadelphia now with the ball for the first time.
Right, Jackson was holding his hand because he took on that wedge by himself.
Now look at this offensive line. The wide receivers are running backs. Here's Jaworski, Giamona playing for Montgomery. There's the offensive line. Woody Peoples, a 37-year-old young guy who's just done quite a job.
Right, and the 2 all-pro tackles.
Sizemore's coming back from a concussion. This team really took a physical beating last week against Chicago. Giamona has a crunched body, is the way they described him, but he's in there starting. And this will be a fake to Giamona. Jaworski, Charlie Smith. Boy, what a catch by Smith. That will move it to the 41-yard line of Seattle. John Harris defending on the play, and Ron Jaworski comes out on the first play and starts their offense rolling.
He did. He was going to show a little the same thing that Zorn does, and it was a great fake. They faked to the weak side, to the right, brought Charlie Smith on an in pattern from the left side. He really had the whole field there, bobbled the ball a little, but a big play.
28-yard pickup. Dave Brown was the guy that got a hand on that football. First down for Philadelphia. Charlie Smith coming up with his 18th catch. He had 24 all of last year, so he's off to an outstanding start. Here's Leroy Harris. Harris to the 37 and spun around. Keith Simpson, who is one of the fine young safeties in the league, up to make the stop after a 4-yard pickup. Simpson was a #1 draft pick in '78 for Seattle. They think he's a future Pro Bowler. There he is, 42, and let's look at this defense. A defense that has bent a little bit but hasn't broken.
Okay, one of the impressive players on that is their left end, number 69, Jacob Green, a rookie, and that'll be an interesting matchup between he and Jerry Sizemore.
Ron Jaworski now with a 2nd down and 6 from the 27-yard line. They trail 3-0. 21-yard field goal by Efren Herrera. An end-around reverse is faked by Giamona. He keeps the football and he's in trouble. He throws it now to Jaworski. Jaworski gets on the football at the 49. Philadelphia trying to take a page out of Seattle's playbook. That just didn't work at all.
It didn't work at all, but it was supposed to be a pass because Harold Carmichael on this play is deep in the end zone. See, Jamona's going to bring it out here. Then it looks like he was supposed to somehow get it back to Jaworski. Now, if Jaworski is expecting that play, then it's good. If he's not, he really doesn't want it.
I question he was expecting that.
Well, it was some pass, though, because Harold Carmichael did run a pass pattern, and he was deep in the end zone. Now, whether Giamona was supposed to throw it to him or Jaworski was going to get it back and throw it to him, we don't know.
You can see now the yardage they lost on that play all the way back to the 49-yard line. Jaworski back. Protection is there. A flag on the play. And intended for Billy Campfield at the 41, but he couldn't hang on to it. He had a lot of time to throw, but I want to tell you something. That secondary of Seattle really covered that play very well. They had 5 defensive backs in.
There was really no one open. He had to come off to his short man Campfield. As we watch it again, the penalty is against the Eagles. It's an illegal motion. And we see Jaworski here. He was looking deep. He really didn't mean to throw to Canfield. That was a secondary receiver that he came off to.
Offense, there was no man on the end of the line. Declined, 4th down.
What happened is they didn't have on the weak side the wide receiver. Instead of being on the line, he lined up in the backfield, which was too many men in the backfield.
You have to have, what, 7 men on the line of scrimmage. And this is the deep man, Will Lewis. He's an exciting young man from Millersville State in Pennsylvania. He was a Philadelphia Eagle fan as a boy, and now playing against Philadelphia. Blocked. It's blocked by Kerry Justin. Falling on the ball is Philadelphia, but Seattle will have it at the 46-yard line.
They had one of these 2 weeks ago to win a game. They had to have a block punt by Sam McCullum. We see here, Kerry Justin just came from the outside. No one touched him, and he did a nice job of getting in front of the kicker, an illegal block.
And so Seattle has things going their way. They have the ball at the Philadelphia 47-yard line.
Motorcraft for sure. Motorcraft for sure.
How do you make the great lineup of Motorcraft parts even better? You've already got batteries with sure power, hot firing spark plugs, and a full line of filters. So how do you make it better? Just add oil. Introducing Motorcraft Oil, formulated to stabilize oxidation and reduce wear. Rated SF, it meets the most advanced engineering standards set for the 80s. You can be sure of it.
Motorcraft for sure.
Outside, the Canon NP200 may look like any small copier, but inside there's a world of difference, a world of micronics, where 20 copies a minute are not only possible, but made reliable with a microcomputer. Fiber optics precisely defines your image, and a toner projection system gives you clear copies on virtually any paper. Up to 11 by 17. Compact in size and price, the Canon NP200 is definitely worth looking into.
Dracula's coming to New York, and his style is irresistible. George Hamilton and Susan St. James star in Love at First Bite, Wednesday night. Good evening.
Let's reconstruct this block punt just a moment ago.
I think that the Eagles were spread out on the right side. They had their end men spread. Kerry Justin came from the outside. There was no blocker there, and it was a fine play. He really got right in front of the punter.
Jeff Moore and Lawrence McCutcheon, the new running backs now for Seattle. First down at the 47 of Philadelphia. The Seahawks with a 3-0 lead. Zorn to throw on first down. He's going deep to Steve Largent. He's behind the man, but the ball is thrown wide left to him. Dropping back quickly was Roynell Young. Also in on that particular play, Bernard Wilson. Largent had the man beat, but the ball was thrown wide left, and look at this. Baltimore has ended Kansas City's 4-game winning streak. And that's after losing to St. Louis. Hard to figure, isn't it?
Well, they had a lot of sacks last week. I bet they straightened that out.
San Diego beat Cincinnati, so the Chargers kind of stopping a momentary skid. Cincinnati playing a murderous schedule this year. And so it's second down now and 10 from the 47. But again, Zorn kind of airing it out. And if I was Dick Vermeil, I'd be a little nervous right now. 1:53 remaining in this first quarter, and Seattle's had the football most of the time. Quick pitch. Trying to go wide, Jeff Moore. A flag on the play, and Moore short of the 45-yard line. Moore was their 12th round draft pick a year ago out of Jackson State. Roynell Young over to make the stop, but let's see what the penalty's all about. Looks like it's going against Seattle.
And it's probably offensive holding. Nope.
Illegal procedure.
Usually a lot of time on those sweeps, the offensive line has to step to get outside to get position. So what they'll do is they'll reach an arm out to help them get that position. You see a lot of holding on running plays, especially to the outside.
Number 81, offense, decline. Third down.
Here's Jeff Moore. He's shaken up on that last play.
Looks like he hurt his shoulder.
There's Patera. He's in his 5th year, as is Dick Vermeil. Both of them came in the league at the same time. And this young man has directed his team 1 game short of the playoffs the last 2 seasons.
Super automotive values from Sears. Get power to start. Get power to spare. Get the Sears 48. Now only $44.99 with trade-in, our lowest price of the year. You save $10. The Road Handler tires are on sale. Save 20% on Sears Best Radio for large or small cars, like the Road Handler for compact cars, as low as $34.36 each. At Sears, where America shops for value.
Company's coming, so save at Sears pre-holiday home improvement sale. Get this Craftsman gas chainsaw that's lightweight yet powerful. Now $189.98 including case. Save $45. This Sears Best Craftsman 10-inch table saw miters, bevels, rips, and crosscuts, and has a motor that develops 2 horsepower. Now $299.99 with leg set and extensions. Save $120. On sale now at Sears, where America shops for value.
See the cheerleaders go from the sidelines to the front lines in the battle of the NFL cheerleaders. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
With John Madden, I'm Gary Bender. We have 1:46 remaining in this first quarter. Seattle has a 3rd down 9. They lead this game 3-0, and on 3rd down conversions, they're 4 for 7. And if nothing else has happened in this first quarter, I think Seattle has gotten Philadelphia's attention.
One thing, they haven't let Philadelphia get started yet. They've really kept them off balance.
Well, that first drive took over 10 minutes. It's hard to get the football and get on balance. Back to throw, Jim Zorn on 3rd and 9. A time pass to Largent. He made the catch. That was a tough catch to make. Largent out of bounds at the 22-yard line, and that is one of the toughest catches to make in football.
It's a tough catch, and it was a tough throw. It was a timing thing, but Zorn and Largent work an awful lot together. They're just like brothers, and that's the place that you want that ball. It's a tough catch, but that's what the receivers are paid to do. Those are the types of catches that they have to make because it really can't be defended. It was not only over the head, but it was also over the outside shoulder.
24-yard pickup to the 22-yard line. Boy, Largent last year leading the NFL in receiving yardage. Spectacular season 2 years ago. He caught 71 passes. Zorn on a 1st down, gives off to Lawrence McCutcheon. He was the man who joined this team last week after being cut by the Denver Broncos. He carried 1 time last week for a touchdown. And look at this one. St. Louis is leading Dallas in the 3rd quarter.
St. Louis is surprising everyone.
L.A. trying to keep New Orleans from winning their first game of the year. New Orleans really struggling, and Denver leading Houston 6-0. Earl Campbell would like to become the first back ever to gain 200 yards in 3 consecutive games. And Oakland, boy, they're playing well.
They're playing very well.
And New England leading the Jets, who, of course, coming off of that win on Monday night. 2nd down now, 9 yards to go for Seattle from the 21 of Philadelphia. Zorn with his 3-0 lead with time to throw. Now Humphrey is giving him a little pressure, and he got rid of it. Claude Humphrey, who leads this team in sacks with 5. You said something about Humphrey. He could really be important against this Seattle team today.
Well, he will be because he's their designated pass rusher. He comes in the long yardage situations with the 4 linemen, and that's one thing that you have to do to Zorn. No matter what he does to you, when he's running or faking or sprinting, you still have to keep the pressure on him. And if he runs and scrambles, you have to come back and do it again the next time. You can't become cautious against this team.
You saw that score, Minnesota leading Washington. The Redskins with a 2-game winning streak. Here we go, 3rd down 9. 3 wide receivers are in on this particular play. Rabel's at the bottom, McCullum and Largent at the top of the screen. That's McCullum in the slot. And now timeout. You heard that. Jim Zorn doesn't like that one now. They've already used 2 timeouts here in this first quarter.
Yeah, and you hate to do that. You like to save your timeouts for the end of the half and the end of the game so that you have them in bunches of 3. I'm sure that they had a play. Now, it was 3rd down, and Jim Zorn didn't feel that the play would be successful. So rather than run the play anyway on 3rd down, he thought I'd better take the timeout. I'll tell the officials. I'll go over and talk to the coaches and see what we really want to do in this situation.
That is final now. Atlanta 6-3 on the year. And Pittsburgh defeating Green Bay. Steelers are very much alive yet. Boy, the Packers have played tough. And Tampa Bay over the Giants 30-13.
That's a lot of points for Tampa Bay, isn't it?
They were figuring that might be a defensive struggle. Ray Perkins thought they could win it with a defense. In Detroit, they're still hanging on to that lead in that NFC Central. Baltimore over Kansas City, and Kansas City now, after winning 4 in a row, losing to the Colts. San Diego over Cincinnati, and San Diego
I tell you, Don Coryell has them going again. I guess Chuck Muncy, though, didn't play today. They didn't take him on the plane.
No, he didn't, but Dan Fouts played.
That's
threw a
enough.
whole bunch of touchdowns.
Well, Zorn is back in. After using his second timeout, we still have 52 seconds to go in this first quarter of play.
This wouldn't be a bad situation for a weird play.
What do you categorize as weird?
Well, we'll watch it. Maybe that's what Zorn wanted. Maybe he didn't have a weird one. He said, I want a weird one. Timeout.
He had 2 seconds on that 30-second clock before he called the timeout. Here is Zorn, and that's kind of a weird one, to the 15, and he slides, but he didn't get the first down. I think he misjudged where that first down stick is. John Shira came up to make the stop. He went into that little hook slide.
I'm sure, and this is an organized run. See, this is a quarterback draw. They block it. They invite the pass rush up the field. Zorn starts back, and then he goes into the run. Now, I think you're right. I think he did misjudge that because he looked like he felt that if he would go into a slide, he would get the first down. But, of course, he's 2 yards short.
And Herrera will attempt another field goal. This will be 32 yards. We think he's going to attempt it. With this team, you never know. Herrera already with a 21-yarder. This will be from 32. Zorn holding. Herrera's kick is on the way. And Seattle has taken a 6-0 lead. Herrera, against his former college coach, Dick Vermeil, is giving him a difficult time. And Seattle has had the football almost this entire first quarter with only 4 seconds remaining on it with a 6-0 lead.
As we see Jack Patera over there, I know what he's thinking. He's thinking all that work, all that offense, all that ball control, and we only have 6 points. I think that right now is an advantage to the Philadelphia Eagles. As we said earlier, they really haven't gotten started yet, but even though they haven't gotten started, they're only down 6-0, which with this team and this great offense that the Eagles have is really nothing.
You saw that score just a moment ago. Dallas now has taken the lead over St. Louis, that game being played in St. Louis, as Herrera will kick off from the 35-yard line. Seattle last year was 9-7. They were 9-7 the year before, and both times falling just a game short of making the playoffs. They're in a division in which every team is at 500 or better, showing you how tough this AFC West is. As you have Campfield back deep along with Harrington. Herrera ready to go. He's been a busy man, throwing blocks and kicking field goals.
Oh, kicking, blocking. He probably wants to catch a pass.
He may before this one's over. Billy Campfield will take this one inside the 5-yard line. 15, 20, and he'll make it out to the 23-yard line. Making the stop was Don Dufek, who was activated for this game, and so that's the end of the first quarter here in the Kingdome in Seattle, with the Seattle Seahawks trying to move above the 500 mark, leading it 6-0.
Lincoln Mercury introduces the totally new Lynx. Its hemispherical head engine, advanced transmission, and aerodynamic shape combine to produce exceptional fuel efficiency. Starting today, the world belongs to an American car. Starting today, the world belongs to Lynx.
I make one trick shot in a light beer commercial, and everybody thinks they know how to shoot pool. So these guys decided to take me on to shoot a little pool and drink a little light beer from Miller. Because it's less filling.
Tastes great!
Less filling.
Let's quit talking and start chalking.
You break, Bubba. Sure, I haven't broken anything all day.
Hey, Mickey, what happened? It's a mystery to me.
You show him, Rodney.
Yeah, show him.
You guys got me all wrong. I think light tastes great, too. But when you're shooting pool, the only thing you want to get filled up is the pocket. 14 6 ball combination.
Steve, how do you do that?
Practice, practice, practice.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
The NFL on CBS. Today's game is sponsored by Ford Trucks. The trucks built Ford tough and built for fuel economy. And by Light Beer. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less.
Well, Philadelphia just didn't have the football in that first quarter. Look at that. And the total yardage, 111 yards for Seattle, only 21 for Philadelphia after the first 15 minutes of play. So Ron Jaworski will try to get this offense untracked. And they have nobody set behind him on this play. Now jumping back will be Campfield, who's in the backfield along with Leroy Harris. Campfield is healthy, and he's going to see some playing time today. Here he comes, the former Kansas back, and he makes it to the 25-yard line, and that's all. Jacob Green, their #1 draft pick out of Texas A&M, the 10th taken this year, making the stop.
I'll tell you, and he did the play here because he penetrated. You see, he on Jerry Sizemore there, he's into the backfield, so there's no place for Campfield to cut as he gets to the line. That's what Ron Jaworski was saying before the game. He said it has to be won in the trenches. On that play, the Philadelphia Eagles did not win it in the trenches. They were whipped in the trench.
Jack Patera looking on as Jaworski on a 2nd and 7. And almost intercepted that time by Joe Norman, number 52. He's a second-year man from Indiana. They will bring him in on passing situations. Bring in a 5th back and bring Norman in as he plays pass defense so well.
He does, and as we see him here, he just drops back. It was a zone-type coverage. He didn't have a man. He was on that hash mark. He dropped straight back, and he was in great position for the interception. He's upset with himself because he thought he could have had an interception and maybe even a score.
Look at those offensive plays, 24-6. You were mentioning the linebacker dropping the ball. Dick Vermeil told us he doesn't even let his linebackers tape their hands anymore because they can't intercept.
He said he'd rather have them wear gloves than tape.
3rd down and 7 now. 5 defensive backs are in for Seattle on this play. Jaworski back. And Campfield, the intended receiver, and that was Joe Norman defending again on the play. And right now, Philadelphia offensively just not looking too organized.
Usually in this situation, Philadelphia would like to go to 3 wide receivers. They lost Scott Fitzke, they lost Wally Henry, so now they really don't have the 3 wide receivers. What they did on that play is they put Billy Campfield up as a wing, and he ran the pattern as a 3rd wide receiver would in that situation normally.
Now Runniger had his first punt blocked today as he stands back at the 11-yard line. They're spreading it out again a little bit, aren't they?
The same way, and that's how they had the first one blocked.
And Will Lewis, you saw him, number 41, averaging 7.3 a punt return. Now Philadelphia jumps back in with their people that were set wide.
That's what they didn't do the first time.
And Runniger will have time to kick. Will Lewis calling for the fair catch, and he has a football at the 37-yard line. And so Seattle has it with a 6-0 lead. That was a 38-yard kick that time by Max Runniger. I tell you, these punters love to kick indoors, but they don't like to get them blocked indoors or outdoors, which of course happened to Runniger earlier today.
Here's another Radio Shack telephone sensation, and lucky you, it's on sale for only $39.88. Super small size, and the push-button dial has a memory button that automatically redials busy numbers. Of course, it has an extra long 16-foot cord, and watch this. Its hang-up is a put-down. You save even more when you own your own phone, and it's built and sold only by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
3 long days on the road taught you all that I know. Then you taught me something about milk. 20 miles left to go with our cash getting low. Don't have much, just enough to go for some milk. Good call, son, the milk tastes fine. Why don't you lead the way this time? Now more than ever is the time for milk.
Well, my broadcasting sidekick, John Madden, became an uncle about a week ago. It's Molly Madden Magruder, a new resident here in Seattle. Your sister had a baby.
Right, and it was quite a thrill. We came up Friday night, and I got to see Molly Madden. I was surprised to see her name on television now.
First down for Seattle. Lawrence McCutcheon, he's going to throw it back to Zorn. And here comes another new wrinkle as Zorn is out to the 40, and he'll go out of bounds at the 42. And Philadelphia has to be scratching their head. They're probably wondering what next. Jerry Robinson, however, reacted very well on that play and kept from being a big gainer.
This is real good weird where he starts out to the right. He's going to run. He stops. He throws back to Zorn. Now Zorn has an option here. He has a lineman in front of him for a screen to run. or he did have a receiver downfield. He decides to run. I'm sure he yelled, "Go," and then that became a screen pass to Zorn. Now, how would you call that? Run right, throw back left, screen left, option pass.
Going to get a delay of game trying to call all of that. A gain of 6 yards, 2nd down 4. And thus far, Zorn has carried the ball 3 times for 33 yards, and none of them have been ordinary plays. Whoa, what a hit on Jodat. Jodat just didn't find any running room that time, and that's one area now Philadelphia may take away from the Seattle team after earlier seeing the Seahawks be very effective up the middle. Charlie Johnson, the nose tackle, led that charge.
Charlie Johnson, as he goes back to the huddle, he's probably saying, geez, it's fun to see a normal play, the old basic football where you run the running back inside at the line and you can get down in the pits and you block and hit each other and bump around, and then you make the play.
There's Los Angeles now bumping their lead up to 17-zip as Philadelphia now has 5 defensive backs in on a 3rd down and 4. And also 3 wide receivers for Seattle. Zorn on the move, intended for Jodat. A flag has been thrown back inside the 40-yard line as Dan Dornick is down over there along with one of the linebackers, Jerry Robinson, where that flag has been thrown.
He's down, and I'm sure that Dornick is the guilty one. It's probably a holding penalty. He probably hooked his arm around him as he went to block him. They tend to do that. Of course, they won't take the penalty anyway.
Jerry Markwright, the man in charge of this football game, as back to kick for the first time will be Herman Weaver. Weaver is 12th in the AFC with an average of 41.6. He led the NFC in punting in 1975 while playing for the Detroit Lions. John Shira will go back. Shira, of course, replacing the Wally Henry wide receiver as well as kick return man. Henry in the Paola Hospital in Philadelphia, and want to say hello to him today. And Weaver really hammered that one. Shira back in at the 8-yard line area. And Shira, who last year averaged over 11 yards a return, makes it to the 21, but there's a flag thrown at the 18-yard line. Don Dufek, the former Michigan All-American, making the stop. Shira will not break the long one like Wally Henry, but he does a very commendable job.
Oh, that was a big play because he was able to get the ball out of that 5 or 10-yard line area up to the 20-yard line, but it all went for naught because there was a clip on the play, and it'll go back to the 10-yard line again. But this is really something because it's a lot easier to run your offense.
Clipping number 22 on the run back. First down, timeout.
That's Brevard Wilson who came up with the clip on that particular play. That was a 50-yard kick by Weaver. 13-yard return that's moved back after the clip to the 10-yard line.
Introducing the Cougar XR7. It's available with more than 60 special features that let you create something special. The Cougar XR7 from Lincoln Mercury. It's not like everybody else's car.
On nuclear proliferation, a candidate must remember what he has said.
When Governor Reagan has been asked about that, he makes a very disturbing comment that non-proliferation or the control of the spread of nuclear weapons is none of our business.
I have never made the statement that he suggested about nuclear proliferation.
I just don't think that it's any of our business. Unilaterally, the United States seemed to be the only nation in the
Which Ronald Reagan should we believe?
Monday on Flo, Crooked Farley's running for office, and Flo's about to run him out of the Yellow Rose.
Farley's never met a man whose money he didn't like.
Monday on the new season of Flo.
St. Louis has taken the lead over Dallas. 34-yard touchdown pass from Jim Hart to Mel Gray. Boy, that's quite a standoff going on in the heartland of the country in St. Louis. From the 10-yard line, first down for Philadelphia. They trail 6-0. We have 13:06 to go until halftime. Ron Jaworski off to Harris. Harris, maybe 2, and that's all to the 12-yard line. Seattle, as we mentioned earlier, had given up only 10 touchdowns in the last 5 games against some tough competition. Minnesota now has scored again. They lead Washington 14-0. That was Terry Beeson, who the last 3 years has led Seattle in tackles, along with Jacob Green combining on the stop for Seattle. Comes to a 2nd down and 8. Jaworski and team not with the field position and not having the football all that often. Carmichael, Smith, split to the bottom of the screen. Campfield on the quick pitch to the 15, and he dives forward, trying to get to the front of that chain. And let's see where they're going to mark it. It looks like around the 19-yard line area. Michael Jackson, who leads the team in tackles, over to make the stop. It's going to come down to a 3rd down, still a couple of yards to go.
As we see it here again, it was a pitch play with right tackle Jerry Sizemore pulling out and leading. He did a nice job blocking the corner, so Campfield was able to get to the outside, but they still come up short. They're 3rd and 2. Now, what they would like to do, excuse me, they're 3rd and 1, but what they would like to do here is get a 1st down, get to the 20-yard line, then open up.
This is only the 12th play of the game for Philadelphia. John Harris, their safety's been shaken up for Seattle, replaced by Miner. Here's Jaworski after a beautiful fake to Keith Krefley, and that'll be a 1st down, but there is a flag. Boy, what a fake that time by Jaworski. Billy Campfield was hit by about 3 Seahawks. And then he hit Krefley, enough for the 1st down, but we have a penalty flag.
Well, it was a short yardage play, and what they were doing is they were faking a run into the line to the right side to hold the Seattle defense. Ron Jaworski came back. He was trying to throw to Harold Carmichael. He only had one pass receiver out deep, and that was Harold Carmichael. We'll be able to see him again. You see, he's the outside man here. See, he's coming deep. He's trying to get out of the way, and of course he doesn't. He has the contact there, and then he was the only receiver.
22 defense, 1st down.
That's the play you just saw that was illegal, where they cut Carmichael down. That is an automatic 1st down. In other words, he was past that 5-yard line area.
He was past the 5-yard line area, and of course that is one rule. The other rule is that you can't chop him below the knee, below the waist.
This is Harris on the 1st down, trying to shake the tackler. Good pursuit that time by Michael Jackson, the University of Washington standout. And they have got a yard, and that's all. Los Angeles now is going to have a cakewalk. It looks like 24-0 over New Orleans. The Saints are 0-8. And of course, Los Angeles knows that Atlanta won a big game today, and they must win to stay even in that NFC Western Division, which is becoming quite a fight. 2nd down, 9 yards to go. Philadelphia trailing 6-0, coming in here with a 4-game winning streak. Last year they won 5 in a row. They'd like to duplicate that today. We have a timeout called by Philadelphia. That's their 1st. And Jaworski will come over to visit with Coach Dick Vermeil. As Philadelphia finding they're going to have quite a battle. Dick Vermeil said that the 2nd half of our schedule is much tougher than the 1st half.
Hold it. Hey, guys. All right, stop fooling around. Calm down. Hold it down. I mean, this is the first Light Beer alumni picture. Okay, a little respect. All right, everybody here?
Everybody who is somebody.
Oh, very clever. All right, smile, will you?
Knock it off, Billy. You need this job.
Are you guys ready? Hold it. Hold it. Stay like that. Hold it. Now, just be yourselves. Calm down. Calm down. Hold it.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
The closest you can come to playing real gin rummy is Entex Electronic Gin Rummy.
Little lady, it seems you've beaten the pants off me.
The closest you can come to playing real football is Entex Electronic Football.
Back to work.
The closest you can come to playing real pinball is Entex Electronic Raise the Devil Pinball.
You lose, punk.
No, I win. Entex, the electronic games nobody can come close to.
Hi, I'm Joe Theismann. Don't remain on the sidelines this election day. Get out and vote for the candidates of your choice. Remember, your vote can make a difference. Thank you.
The proceeding